When you look into the business models of making money online today, you'll probably think of drop shipping, Amazon FBA, affiliate marketing, social media marketing agency. But there's one business model in particular that all of the business gurus are doing that, if done properly, it can set you up for life. And that business model is SaaS. So what is SaaS? SaaS is software as a service, or in this case, we're using no-code tools to build a software that provides a service to, it could be a consumer or a business owner. Every business has its downsides. For e-com, it's low profit margins, lots of competition, and logistical headaches. For agencies, it can be hard to scale, and clients can tend to be nightmares. With software, you have high profit margins, the software is the fulfillment, and you have the highest exit multiples of nearly any business model out there. And so that's why you've seen this pivot of the biggest online entrepreneurs in this space move to software, for that last reason that I stated of high exit multiples, so that way they can sell their companies for millions, or in some cases hundreds of millions of dollars, and ride off into the sunset. So what's the catch? In past years, software has been a highly competitive business model to get into with a high barrier of entry. You needed to have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to afford to hire software engineers that can build your software for you from scratch. You needed to have succeeded in a prior business venture before, and you'd already be a successful entrepreneur in order to front that money to get into software. But today, with no-code tools and artificial intelligence, it's never been easier to get into software yourself. I've never coded a single day in my life, and I've been able to exit 2 companies built on no-code platforms by the time I turned 22. So let me explain why other business models won't build wealth for you over the long run. Agencies, they can be great for cash flow. Like if you just need to make $5,000, $10,000 per month, an agency is a great route. But again, you're not building any equity value in that business. So say you get your agency to $100,000 a year profit, that can maybe and only maybe sell for $200,000 to $300,000, and that's if you built it in a way that you had great standard operating procedures. There wasn't a lot of fires to be put out on the regular, and it was able to operate without you. E-commerce can be a great business model, and it can have decent exit multiples if you have a good brand. I've seen them sell for 4 to 5x annual profit. But again, there's a lot of supply chain headaches. There's often lower profit margins, and it can still be a headache, and it's very competitive. It's very difficult to start an e-commerce brand still, and it's very competitive because, as you know, everyone's been trying to do drop shipping since 2016. Freelancing is very similar. You can learn a great skill, you can make decent cash flow, but once again, you're not building any equity value, and so again, it's going to take you a much longer time to build real wealth compared to as if you just had one big liquidation event. And the thing to keep in mind with some of these businesses is, in order to exit your agency or in order to exit your e-commerce brand is, again, it's got to be an actual brand, right? Like it's very, very difficult to exit these drop shipping stores. And again, if they do, it'll be a very low multiple. Agencies, again, you'll only really be able to exit it if it can run without you, if you have a bunch of clients, et cetera, et cetera. And so it often becomes more of a headache than what it's actually worth. Now, with all of that being said, I don't want to discredit these business models because they all actually work. I know people in each niche that I just mentioned that are doing great things inside of it. I know people crushing it in e-commerce. I know people crushing it with their agency and online sales, affiliate marketing. They all work. So all these business models work, but they're much harder to exit or to sell that company. And again, if you are able to, it's going to be for a much smaller multiple, probably in the 2 to 4 range at best. So let's talk about why SaaS, or building a software company, I believe will build you wealth over the long run. So something else that I didn't mention is I haven't really seen many people run their agencies for more than a year. Usually they end up pivoting to the next thing after that. And so software is a long-term business model because the thing is you constantly need to be making the product better. There's an infinite loop, right, of where a customer has an inquiry of a new feature they want, or a change they want made, or a pricing change, and you make that change, you iterate, and you have your dev add a new feature, and then you market it back to new customers, you get new customers, they request a new feature, you iterate, and it's so on and so forth. It's a never-ending loop, right? And so for this reason it's a long-term play. Like I grew Closify for 2 years, and even that was a pretty short amount of time compared to the normal software company. And when you're able to think on a longer time frame, I found that people tend to do better because we're not being blinded by short-term gratification. And so that's why I always try to preach to people is you should build brick by brick, not over the course of weeks or not over the course of months, but you should build brick by brick over the course of years and build a real sellable asset. And I kind of like to think of software like a retirement account, right? So it's like a retirement account, I'm gonna put your money into it, and then it's like one day you retire and you get this big lump sum of money, right? I think of software companies like the same thing. It's like you keep most of the money in the business, you pay yourself what you need to get by, and then you build brick by brick over the course of years. And eventually, one day, you have that big liquidation event where you sell the company and you get that big lump sum of money where then you can go buy real estate, invest in the stock market, buy crypto, start investing in companies, whatever you want to do. But that's how I've seen all these people that I've been studying build real wealth. It's like that's how you saw Alex Becker sold Hyros for $110 million. He started in 2019 and he sold it at the beginning of 2023. So that's 4 years for $110 million. And yes, like before people say like Alex Becker's been an entrepreneur for a while, like absolutely, I'm not saying that's normal. He had, he's been in entrepreneurship for over a decade. He's an amazing marketer, he's brilliant. But still, I don't know any other business models where you can go from zero to $110 million exit in 4 years. And another reason why I love software is, again, the profit margins are so high because you don't have to hire you don't have to hire anyone to actually fulfill the service. Like with an agency, if you have a marketing agency where you run Facebook ads, you have to hire people to run the ads. But in software, the software is the fulfillment. And of course, now you do still have to hire other team members, right? Like customer support. Although now you can actually just, build custom chatbots that can do customer support for you. But of course, you still need to hire humans, but there's no human labor involved in the actual fulfillment of the service. And even thinking about it as a retirement account, it doesn't mean that you can't still pay yourself out of the company, right? So like with Closeify, I still paid myself a fine income that I was able to, live in Miami, in downtown Miami, buy myself a car, live a pretty good lifestyle. So you can still pay yourself, but it's like, I wasn't paying myself the most that I could. I was keeping as much as possible in the business so that way one day I could have my big liquidation event, or which is when you sell the company, which I sold the majority of Closeify back in March of this year. So if you're able to build a software company that either makes a business more money or saves a consumer time or money or does all of those things, right? And you build that over a long time frame, brick by brick. You listen to what your customers want and then you iterate, you make those changes and you just keep building and funneling more money back into it and funneling. And then one day you are going to be able to sell that software company for 5 to 10x the annual profit, or the multipliers could even get crazier. Literally just today, I heard of someone who his software company did $6,000 a month in recurring revenue, and he sold his company for $300,000, which I think was like a 4.6 multiple on the revenue, not even profit, on the revenue. And so this is why you see all the big players flocking to software. And like I said, it's not just for the big players now. Like, you don't need a ton of capital up front anymore. You don't need a huge audience to do this. No-code tools and AI has democratized this space, so you can start a no-code software company despite what you may think or despite what you may have been told. And if you take anything away from this video, I don't care if you go and start your own software company, but if you take anything away, I just want you to understand that you need to build for the long term. You're getting short-term gratification shoved down your throat almost every single day of people telling you, land your first agency client in a week or get to $10,000 a month in 90 days. And it's just been cemented in your brain to chase all these short-term goals. Whereas if you could just zoom out and look at everything on a 5-year time horizon, just say, I'm gonna put one foot in front of the other for 5 years straight, I promise you, you would lap all of these guys that are looking at a 90-day time horizon. So if you actually want to build wealth, you have to get equity in something. And if you're going to get equity in something, it may as well be the thing that sells for the highest multiples. And I really don't think you're going to get that with your marketing agency or your dropshipping store. And you're definitely not going to do that in your online sales business. But thank you guys for watching another video. If you want to learn more from me, I'll put my newsletter link to sign up in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.